Devils Sunday. This is the Let's Go Devils podcast, Season 7, Episode 36, titled, Is Fitzy Really Done? That's the question.
Mark.
Yeah, question mark. As I'm coming to you live from the bunker in an undisclosed location in beautiful New Jersey. But Beer Baron has the best mountaintop view of the bunker.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, he knows where it is.
Buddy.
Or does he?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Streaming live.
Yeah, dude.
Streaming live on
ahead.
Facebook Live, YouTube Live, X Live, and Twitch on the Let's Go Devils Network. Lots to talk about. Scotty's going to be beaming in from his Michael J. Fox Studios in Beverly Hills, California. Right now, the DeLorean just got struck by lightning. We don't know where the DeLorean is and where Scotty is, but somehow he's stuck in time.
Mm-hmm. Yep. He's stuck in time somewhere. He's floating in the ether right now. That's what we like to say. He's floating in the ether right now. And I will say this: he is. He'll be coming on shortly. And I know Scotty always has like a million things to say and lots of notes of what the Devils have done in free agency. And you and I are going to be getting deep into that. They just had their developmental camp. They had the nice little 3-on-3 tournament. I love when they do that, and it was nice to see that their first overall pick this year was able to join the camp this year, and that stuff is always fun. It's always fun to see some of the kids out there. Seamus Casey, skating with them. You forget about some guys too. You forget about like the Ethan Edwards of the team, and kind of hidden gems like that. So, the young kids are getting started already. The big club is starting to take shape, and Fitzy was a busy man on July 1st. So the additions of the two big ones, we'll talk about those first because Pesci and Dylan are the two cornerstones of what he did on July 1st. And not to take anything away from the additional signings and the other moves that he made. And the trades that he made, but this team is definitely taking some sort of shape. And I feel like we talked about it last week where we talked about having that good balance, right? Having the speed and then having the grittiness. And right now the bottom six is definitely a hell of a lot grittier than it was before. Bringing in Nosek and bringing in Tatar. First, and I can't wait for Scotty to get on because we'll talk about all this stuff in a little bit. Before we go any further, though, because right off the bat on the YouTube channel here, somebody was saying, what about our top six winger? What about the top six winger that we need? Well, to go along with the title of the show, I have a gut feeling that Fitzy's not done. I feel like there's possibly a move in the making. There's something that he could do. There's a trade that he could make. Because if you're looking at the team right now, the way it sits, we have a pretty big stockpile of defensemen in the AHL and below. So our minor leagues system is pretty chock full of guys that are ready to make that step. And sometimes when you have a logjam like that, it gives you the opportunity to possibly take one of those assets and turn them into something that you need, such as a top six winger. I'm glad he didn't stretch. I'm glad he didn't go after guys that, could possibly fill that top six, but didn't really fill that top six or overpay for somebody. I'm glad he didn't go out there and overpay for like a Cam, Atkinson or even Tyler Toffoli, who we loved last year when he was on the team. But you have to be sensible with how much money you're spending with the cap. So, I don't know. I feel like there's room to be had or a move to be had. But at the same time, bringing Tatar back and you get that line of Nico, Tatar, and Mercer is a good second line to kind of keep in there. And you could have Jack playing with Timo or however you want to balance everything. But either way. I don't know, Sam. I've been talking a lot here, and what do you think?
Well, I'm not going to take the the status quo or regurgitate what everybody else is saying. If you ask me, am I impressed with what Tom Fitzgerald has done so far this offseason? I would say no. I think what he's done so far is not bad. I think there's more work to be done. But honestly, a lot of these moves that he's made could backfire. If Pesci and Dillon don't pan out, they're, I don't know. Just saying. Injuries do happen. They're getting a little bit older.
Yeah. Knock on wood.
But what I'm saying is nothing is guaranteed. And I don't find any of these moves. A lot of these moves were out of necessity, but none of these moves were a game changer. Like truly moving the needle. I think it's going in the right direction, but there's nothing so far this offseason that's got me okay, we mean business. Nothing of a blockbuster sort. And maybe it's because Fitzy's made a lot of great deals in the past. But this offseason was more of necessity. And this is not a knock on Fitzy, but there's a big fish that we all want. I don't know if we're allowed to discuss it, but...
Who, Brady Tkachuk?
Yeah! Say it again. Let's troll the Reddit folks.
And by the way, Chris on the YouTube chat was just saying that he saw Brady Tkachuk was skating in Red Bank last week and skating with a bunch of kids and stuff like that. Dude, I know his wife is from New Jersey. This is something we've covered a lot. You never know. You never know. Do I think it's going to happen? No. And listen, there's guys. I know there was a couple names that were floated out there that the Devils could possibly go after during, free agency day. There's a lot of talk about Steven Stamkos possibly being on the Devils' radar, Marchessault being on the Devils' radar. But in the end, you got to look at the contracts. You got to look at their age. You got to look at what it's going to cost. Those guys are great, and I would love to have a Stamkos on his team. But at the same time, at what cost? At what cost is that going to make sense for your team?
Yeah.
And another thing too is that he's getting older, and injuries have started to creep into his game. So, are you getting a Steven Stamkos from 5-6 years ago, or are you getting him from the last couple of years? So I don't know. I know a lot of us were excited as the day was going on because there was a lot of intrigue into some of those guys possibly being, big time targets for the Devils, and maybe they were. And that's the thing too is maybe they were. Maybe Fitzy made an offer. Maybe he, talked to their agents, talked to the players, and then they just, decided to go play in Nashville together.
Maybe he drove up the price for Nashville, and Andrew Burnett and the Barry Trotz. That could have happened. By the way, David Decker in the Facebook Live says, "What? You're nuts. We have done great." Yes, David Decker, who supplies Toyotas to the Let's Go Devils podcast. Over and over and over and over again, his clientele is now increasing by the moment at Town Toyota, Route 46 in beautiful Ledgewood, New Jersey. Buy a Toyota from David Decker. My wife really likes her RAV4, by the way. Just wanted to put that out
there. Dubs, by the way, Dubs just said that Brady will be a deadline deal if he's unhappy. That is something that I could see happening. If he's going to get, you know what I mean? If he's going to get dealt, it's going to be towards the deadline. When Ottawa is way out of the playoff race and looking, dead last in the eyes again, he's going to be put on the block. And that's the thing that scares me.
Do you think Mercer could be part of that deal if it were to happen this summer?
100%. 100%.
And realize 100%. That Travis Green knows the Devils' personnel, the roster.
Mm-hmm.
He's a pretty smart guy. And so does Andrew Burnett as well. But and obviously Lindy Ruff, which, by the way, getting Ryan McLeod in Buffalo. Did you see that trade from Edmonton going to Buffalo?
I did. Mm-hmm.
I think that's an interesting
for
trade.
Savoy. It was McLeod and somebody else for Savoy, and it felt a little lopsided, but whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Listen, Mercer Nemec in both seconds next year are going the other way. Stephen Engel says, "I don't know, dude. I feel like that is that's probably too much. Brady Kachuk is amazing, but I don't think you need to pay that much to get him out of Ottawa. I don't think you need to get Nemec and Mercer and a couple of picks. I don't think it's going to cost that much, but that's just my opinion. I could be dead wrong about it. They could want the moon and stars and everything else.
Unless somebody comes in with something, what they need is prospects, and what they need are bodies, up in Ottawa. So I don't know. What it's going to take. And again, also his cap numbers to be concerned about, because you got to fit him under the cap, as well. So you're going to have to get creative here. Going back to the Stamkos thing, for a quick minute there, just reuniting Stamkos and Palat together, I was dreaming. But when you saw that contract that he got, $8 million AAV at this point of his career, thanks but no thanks. That's a lot.
100%.
That's a lot.
Yeah, 100%. And but like I said before, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, that'd be awesome to get him. It's Steven freaking Stamkos, of course. He's still he could still produce. He's going to do wonders for your team, just as a veteran voice in a room. But no, not at that price. No, thank you. And it's like, yeah, I get it, 4-year deal at $8 million AV, but you have Luke coming up down the stretch next year. I think you're going to start looking at paying him and how much he's going to be asking for. I mean, he's probably going to be asking for like 9.5 at least. At least he's going to be getting 9.5. So, which I by the way, do you think that pisses Jack off? Like if Luke ends up making more, or do you think Jack doesn't care?
No, I don't think
Jack's the guy. Jack has endorsement deals, and he's definitely not crying poor, but
no. First off, their dad is their agent, so obviously he's going to get a cut, right? It's a family thing. Secondly, the way he reacted after Luke was drafted, I think he'd be happy for his little brother, but also say, well, once my contract is up for renewal, I'm going to be making a lot of money, and hopefully it has had 3 Stanley Cups by then. So, no, I don't think there's going to be any jealousy there. I mean, knowing Jack, he's probably a lot like me. Like, hey, I want you to make money. What do I care? I'm making money too. That's I think that's what his attitude would be. Now, if Luke was making $9.5 million and is milking the clock all day long, then I think he'd be pissed. But I don't think that's going to be the case. I think again, some of these offseason moves. I think they're good, but again, I'm not sold, because we've been through this before. What looks good on paper doesn't really pan out during the season, and again, there's a lot of unknowns here. Will Markstrom play like a Vezina candidate, like he did a few years ago? Is he going to get shutouts? Is the defense going to be improved? There's a new coach with Pesci and Dillon, and will Simon Nemec, will he progress or will he regress? Luke Hughes as well, and Jack Hughes coming off of an injury. offseason, trying to strengthen his body, whatever. Will he be 100%? Will Timo Meyer be 100%? Fitzy says
Well,
so.
Fitzy said by training camp they both should be good, and he said Dougie is 100% right now. So you're getting a big asset back in Dougie Hamilton, who you didn't have basically the entire season last year. So you're having I see what you're saying, and I don't disagree with you 100%, but I will disagree with you in the sense that he did fix the need of the defense, right? Like, you look at what was available in the market, and he made the best move he could. He got the premier defenseman that was on the market. Am I wrong about that?
Pesce as premier?
In this group, I'm not calling him premier. I'm just saying, out of everybody that was available,
he didn't overspend. Let's put it that way. I'll say that he didn't overspend.
No.
He might have overspent for Dylan, just a little bit.
A little bit,
just a little bit, just a tiny bit. I'm not saying much, but
apparently he tried to get him in a trade. I don't know. It was when Dylan was still in the Capitals.
Yeah. At the same time, I'm not all negative. That's a lot of beef he got. He got a lot of beef. Yeah.
Everything is like over 6 in the draft. Everything was over 6'2".
Yeah. It was
free agency.
Just, look, he listens to this podcast, and I think they're headed in the right direction. But all I'm saying is there's nothing that makes me go, wow, we're going to be good. What it makes me feel is, okay, we're not going to get pushed around.
Yeah, but which is great, though. And that's something that this team desperately needed, because they were getting pushed around a lot. And then you got guys like Jack getting ragdolled out in the middle of the ice by, big stupid morons like Rempe. So now you have guys that are going to be able to answer the bell. Don't forget, you still got Big Mac back there. You got you got the bottom 6 of this team is grit. Bringing back Nosen and bringing back Tatar. I mean, 2 guys that were in the system. I love the move of bringing back Stefan Nosen, because he was a killer against us. I felt like he scored every single time he played the Devils. And he's going to bring grit. He's grown as that perfect bottom 6, third line guy. And, I think he's going to do great. Dylan's size, he's nasty in front of the net. So basically what you did is you took John Marino and you took Kevin Ball and you sent them somewhere else, and you got an upgrade on John Marino and Kevin Ball. And you can't deny that. We all love John Marino. We love him, and we're going to miss him. And Kevin Ball, too. Kevin Ball, there's the potential with him is still through the roof. But at the time being, right now, as we sit, Dylan is better than Ball, and Pesce is better than Marino.
Well, plus 2 veteran defensemen back there. When you lost Graves and Severson, the previous season, and plus, believe me, Pesce and Dylan
and Cotter. Don't forget about Cotter.
Well, believe me that Pesce and Dylan are much more physical than Severson and Ryan Graves from the season previous. So. Again, I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. I'm just managing expectations. When you've been bamboozled so many times in the last 10 years, except for maybe 2 years. There were 2 years that we weren't bamboozled. That was the Taylor Hall MVP year, and then obviously the year that, we beat the Rangers in the first round and made it to the second round, when all of us were just hoping to be relevant by the last month of the season. That season. But last year, the expectations were unrealistically high. And again, I will say this, though. It is an improved team. But, again, I wonder what it would be like if Lindy Ruff was still coach and he had this roster versus last year's roster. How this team would be.
I don't think this roster. I don't think he was. I don't think his style was right for this team. The fast attacking, high pace game. Mm-hmm. Like it worked in certain areas. Like the year, yeah, you're 100% right. The year that they set the, franchise record for most points in a season, the 13 game heater, like they had everything was clicking. Everybody was healthy. Everything was clicking. But if you look at it, half that roster is gone. I mean, it's insane how much of a turnover this team has had in the last couple of years. And so, would he work well with this team? I don't know. It just. I think that he
never had a
goalie.
He never had a goalie.
No, you're right. He never had a goalie,
never
and
had
I just
a goalie.
think I just think his message was not landing with the team anymore. Good, bad, or indifferent. And if I'm, and I could be, and a player could come out and be like, nah, bro, we were like, everybody was on board with Lindy. Like, it just didn't work out. So, yeah, I could definitely be wrong about it. Like, we could pontificate about it all day unless somebody tells you straight from the horse's mouth. But I think bringing in Sheldon Keefe is going to be a breath of fresh air for this team. I feel like he's the right kind of coach for the young guys. He also, I feel like he has the right kind of system, or at least he has the right kind of attitude of how he wants to approach this. His approach in his press conference was he wants to be attacking on all aspects of the ice, forechecking, back checking, neutral zone, everything. He wants an aggressive, hard-nosed team.
It's the same system as Lindy's. I hate to break it to you.
No, but Lindy,
it's the same system.
Then what was the problem with Lindy's system then?
He didn't have the personnel.
Besides the defensive breakdowns constantly, especially last season.
Well, it's a different defense. It's a different. It's a different. Last season's defense, he had nobody back there but rookies, and John Marino. That's all he had. I'm not defending. I'm not saying that Lindy. I'm not. The point here is I'm not saying Lindy is a great coach or whatever, because I'm seeing all the comments on that. I'm just trying to properly evaluate this team realistically. Where are they at? Where are they at?
Sound.
Yeah.
No, I get it, man. I get it, and I always liked Lindy Ruff as just seems like a good guy, but I don't know. I'm excited for Sheldon Keefe. I'm excited to see the direction that this team goes to. I'm excited to see, what he's able to do with Jack and Nico, and just how they're going to transform this team into, an actual contender instead of we had a great year and then it just all falls apart the next year.
I mean, Sheldon Keefe doesn't have to deal with Alexander Holtz. I can tell you that.
Oh my God!
But
Holtz and Schmid going to Vegas, which thank God Schmid got they didn't qualify him, and then they just signed him to a regular contract, which is nice to see that he got a permanent job out there in Vegas. But Holtz, man, you knew we talked about it last week. You knew it was going to happen, and the return wasn't as big as we were all hoping for, and what we could have turned him into, but I think it was time. I think that experiment was run through, and I think it was time.
I agree. And also, for the record, I think it was time to move on from Lindy. I'm just pointing out that, again, this is my conspiracy theory. Anybody want to hear my conspiracy theory?
Sure, go ahead.
They didn't give Lindy the defense and the goaltending like they're giving to Sheldon Keefe. From what I'm told, from a source, that when Sheldon Keefe talked to Tom Fitzgerald about coming to New Jersey, the prerequisite was to get a goaltender and a defense, and Tom Fitzgerald made good on that. So,
Yeah, he did.
because otherwise Sheldon Keefe's not coming here. Because, again, I think Lindy, got a. This is the last on Lindy. That I don't think he got a fair shake, but it was time to move on Lindy anyway. And Lindy wasn't really the coach of the future. He just won the lottery with a wonderful season. A franchise. And you look, he got his old job back in Buffalo, which I think
Which is kind of cool.
yeah, which is kind of cool. But watch out for the Buffalo Sabres. That's all I have to say, because I think they're give them about another year and a half, they're going to be a pain in the butt to play. They may be a pain in the butt to play, this upcoming season. Again, Ted says, happy Sharon Govich. Devils keep losing their score. At the time, it wasn't going to work out.
No, at the time, that was a great trade.
Yeah.
Because at the time, you're giving a guy who puts in 50. This is all hindsight. Everybody that says anything about Sharon Govich, it's all hindsight. Like, we saw the kid's potential. He was never going to crack the top 6 with Lindy or how the team was being structured. And he got an opportunity to go and play big-time minutes in Calgary. And, yeah, he took it and ran with it. And I couldn't be happier for him. He signed an extension in Calgary, so he's going to be there, I think, a 5-year extension. So he's going to be there. He's locked in there for quite some time. But Sharagovich is one of those things. Outside of him, name any other big time scoring winger that we let go, that we shipped out or we sent somewhere else that ended up developing into like an absolute monster. That stuff happens. And then at the time of the trade, it was like, dude, yeah, we're getting a proven commodity in Tyler Toffoli, who is going to put at least 30 goals in. And what was he doing when he got here? Tyler Toffoli was playing pretty damn well for the Devils.
Yeah, he was scoring.
He was scoring goals, and there was points where he was like the only one scoring.
And keep in mind though, for those that are listening, that when Toffoli was traded to the Devils, the first thing that Nick Villano said was, "Oh crap, we're contenders. The Devils are contenders." At that moment, after coming off of that record-breaking season. But remember, Sharon Govich, wasn't he a 5th-round pick? Wasn't he a 5th-round pick originally? What they traded for Toffoli to the Jets, they got a 3rd-round pick and a 2025 2nd-round pick. So, it's not like, that trade was like so lopsided or it didn't work out well. We still don't know what those picks are going to be, what they're going to turn out to be. That's the fun of sports, and I love looking at like the whole Taylor Hall thing, where Adam Larson came about because John McLean was the coach, and somehow he gets fired, and we get the Devils get the 4th overall pick. And then the Taylor Hall trade that keeps on giving, you never know. You never know.
Which, by the way, that Larson, didn't we win the lottery that year? But the lottery wasn't set up the way it is now.
Yeah,
we moved up in that draft. Yeah, we moved up in the draft the Larson year.
Yep.
And Toffoli for nothing, and now Tuna replacing Toffoli is an absolute, unequivocal disaster. Yo Holmes to Bel Air. Yeah, you're right about that for sure. Like giving up Toffoli or giving up Sharon Govich to get Toffoli, and then Toffoli not.
What's wild?
We ended up we trade Toffoli away in the middle of the season because our team was just falling apart, and then you bring Tatar back. I don't think. Like Sam said at the beginning, and the name of the show, I don't think that Fitzgerald is done. I don't know if he's waiting to make a move. I don't know if he's maybe he is content. Maybe he's like, you know what, this team will be fine, and just we'll ride it and see what happens, and then might be super aggressive during the trade deadline if the team is playing really well and they're going in the right direction. I expect them to be extremely,
Hey,
hey, there he
finally.
is.
How long were you waiting in the Andy Green
in the
room?
queue? In the Andy Green room.
For a while there.
Well,
Thanks
why-
for not answering my text messages over there, bud. Appreciate that one.
I didn't get it.
We were kind of busy doing a
Oh,
show.
yeah, I didn't get it. I didn't get it. Yeah, I didn't get it. Oh, there it is. Look at that. It's right there on my phone.
No.
What do you know?
It just says
Oh,
logging in
yeah.
on the work laptop. That's all it says.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't say I'm here.
Mm-hmm. All right.
after
Get
that?
back on
All right.
getting
Says,
back.
can you
getting
send me the
back to it.
vMix password so I can get the hell on here?
Why don't you have it?
Anyway. Because it's on my other laptop that's broken.
Oh, okay. Sorry, man. We'll talk off air about this because, I was kind of talking to Beer Baron about stuff. Sorry, Scotty.
Well, hello, everybody. How you
No.
guys doing?
Good.
Happy
Good,
weekend.
buddy. Good.
Hello to everyone
great
on
weekend.
YouTube
Great
and
weekend.
Facebook and Twitter and all that madness. Sorry, I ran into some technical issues here, but my MacBook decided to stop working all of a sudden. So, yay! Fun
Yay.
times. And I
Apple.
see. Oh,
Way
we're
to go,
talking. Is Fitzy really done? Well,
So can we give you the cliff notes of so you don't accidentally do what I did that one time when I came in late and I talked about everything you guys already talked about? So
No,
the
I
cliff
wanna
notes
do that.
are
no, I want to do that. I want to do it exactly how you did it before. Yeah.
oh, okay.
Why
Go.
not?
Go ahead.
And
Well, no.
go. And action.
Here is my thing, because I sort of heard a little bit here and there of what was going on, because I was like connecting, disconnecting. So I was getting little blips of it in my troubleshooting. But the top six, obviously we've heard them talk about that. I don't think Thomas Tatar really equates to a top six forward. I think he might bounce in there every now and then, occasionally. But I think Tatar was brought back as, I know Sam and I talked about it many, many times on Devils After Dark, that Thomas Tatar definitely had the big bro vibes with this team, where he really seemed to kind of be that elder statesman, along with Dougie Hamilton as well. And you see how this team kind of just nosedived without Tatar and without Dougie Hamilton in the lineup. None of those big bros for little bros to look up to. And when things get tough, they didn't really have anyone to completely lead the way for them. And yeah, the Tyler Toffoli trade, listen, everyone in hindsight could say now, like, yeah, that move sucked. But when it happened, everyone was excited about it. And to be quite fair, I don't think Sharon Govich was going to get the top 6 minutes that he's getting over in Calgary here in New Jersey. Maybe he would have. Maybe. But I think the reason, and I love Igor, glad he got himself a nice fat contract. Good for him. Him and Pickles up there in Calgary. And we said it last week. Paul Cotter. Woo. That's just Pickles 2.0 coming right at you there. But look, I'll be on the lookout for this kid. He's gonna make some waves this year. But yeah, I mean, I don't see as a replacement has been done yet. Why? Because I do think Fitzy is still wheeling and dealing. I think with the amount of people we have,
you could say you're done and not be done. By the way,
yeah. So I think with the amount of people that are on this team right now, it looks like there's more moves about to be made. Just simply looking at the defensive side of things. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I've seen a lot of, projected lineups that somehow or another, from NHL Network to other publications, to other podcasts, their projected lineups have Jonas Siegenthaler being a top pair defenseman with Dougie Hamilton. There is no way in the holy hell that I can see Jonas Siegenthaler being a top pair defenseman. He did nothing last year to convince me that he can handle top pairing minutes. Now, granted, he had one really good year, but if you look at the rest of his catalog there, like Michael Bolton from Office Space, I enjoy the entire catalog. I enjoy his entire catalog right there. Jonas Siegenthaler, he's had one really good year. The year that everyone on the Devils had a really good year. And last year, he didn't show me that toughness. He didn't show me that Siegs. And I get it. He was injured like everybody else. But did the Devils just go sign Brett Pesce, a $5 million man, to a long-term deal to play on the second line? Did they just sign Brendan Dillon? $4 million to play on the third pairing? I don't see that. I see Pesce playing with Hamilton. I see Dillon playing with Luke so he can provide some protection for Luke. And now you got Siegenthaler, Kovacevic, or Kovacevic, however you say it. I'm really not sure if it's Kovacevic or Kovacevic. But you have Kovacevic, who, by the way, was like a plus 11 last year, playing on a god-awful Montreal Canadiens team. And you've re-signed DeSimone, and you have what do you call it? You got an offer out for Hataka. To me, that sounds like one of these defensemen might be getting shipped out. And if I had to pick from the bunch, sorry, Siegs, but it's probably going to be you. So I don't think that Fitzy is 100% done just yet. And if you're looking at those bottom six there, you got some extra players along there as well. If you're putting Tatar down there, if you're putting Palat down there, if you're putting Cotter down there, if you're putting Lazar down there, if you're putting Bastion down there, you're going to have some extra players kind of hanging around there. Who knows with Mercer? Now, I'm not saying him right now because we don't really know. I don't know. I have a feeling he is being at least asked for by other teams. And maybe Siegenthaler maybe they are planning to keep him around. Maybe it is a Nemec who might be on the move. I don't know. But the way this team is constructed right now, it seems like there's something else in the works. Now, we've all known for quite some time about our love of one Mr. Brady, don't call me Tom Tkachuk. But
don't call me Tom.
But if that doesn't happen, will Fitzy look to make another move trade-wise, for a different top six-esque winger? I think that's likely.
Yeah, and going back to, when he's saying he's done, things like that. I mean, there's done going through free agency and looking for guys on the open market, yeah, but maybe not done in the sense of is he going to be making a trade? It makes sense. I mean, if you're looking at everything that you just said, if you're looking at the way the team is built right now, the surplus of certain people in certain positions and what they have and what they don't have, it would make sense for them to make a move. And if it costs you Dawson Mercer to get somebody in your top six that's going to make a severe impact, then it costs you Dawson Mercer. It sucks. We don't want Mercer to get dealt. We see the potential of Dawson Mercer, and he gets progressively better. Yeah, he had a little bit of a setback last year where, there was
everybody
points where
did though.
Yeah, I mean the
entire team did. Yeah,
but Dawson Mercer is in there every single game. You see the growth every year. So
yes.
Do you want to give up on a kid like that? Nope. And if you're going to give up on him, you better give up on him for something big. So
you better get something big, exactly. And Dubs, I just want to point out that Pesce and Hamilton played next to each other in Carolina, and Luke can play both sides. So it's not a righty-righty, lefty-lefty. Luke plays left and right.
It is wishful thinking. God damn. Some people, man. Yeah, it is wishful
So
thinking because you're right. I
I
mean,
just can't see them. Am I missing something? Am I off? Am I missing something? I'll ask you guys. I'll ask, everyone on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. Am I missing something with Siegs? Because, looking at
no.
his stats, he's had that one really good year. But I mean, he couldn't even crack the lineup in Washington. And I get it. They have they were stacked at the time. And he was a little bit younger. And he comes over to a struggling Devils team, and he seemed to have found a home with his Swiss buddy Nico Hischier. I get that, the comfortability and the play, but there was nothing that I saw last year, even in the beginning of the year before he got hurt. I know I went on Devils After Dark and I said Siegenthaler is not a top pairing defenseman. He needs to be moved out. And I don't know. Maybe he'll have some sort of incredible bounce back year that'll be phenomenal. But I don't know. I'm not banking on it, especially when I have a known commodity like a Brett Pesce. So am I off in my assessment here? I'll ask you guys and ask everyone.
I feel like your assessment is pretty accurate. But I mean, like, and it's just. And there is nothing wrong about being hopeful about what this team is going to do. I mean, sitting here and being negative about, like, oh, woe is me, like, this team's going to suck again, like, oh, this person can't do their job. Like, what the hell is what is the point? What is the point of being a fan if you're going to be miserable all the time? Like, it's good to be hopeful. It's good to sit here and wish. It's good to sit here and, like, talk about, like, bringing in somebody like a Brady Tkachuk because, yeah, you know what? That is pie in the sky stuff. But at the same time, like, who cares? What are we supposed to sit here and just be like, oh, this team's going to suck again. Oh, this guy sucks. Oh, boo-hoo. We got in a goalie, but he's too old. We got in Dylan, but he costs too much. Like,
you're basically saying
bro.
what I was just saying earlier.
Well, what about Siegenthaler though? That's what I'm saying.
It's annoying. And Siegenthaler, what you're saying about Siegenthaler is 100% right. Being a top pairing defenseman with Hamilton, yes. Does he have success with Hamilton? Yes. Does he have do they have a good connection? Yes, I can understand that. But I totally agree with you where Pesce is going to take over that spot unless you're trying to balance it out. And I mean, like Sheldon Keefe is going to have, plenty of opportunity this offseason to take a look at this team and figure out who he's putting where and where he's putting do. Like all this, what defensive pairings he's going to have. Do I foresee what you were saying before? Yeah, that totally makes sense. And yes, he could be definitely expendable. So maybe he doesn't even make it to the opening day roster because he gets moved in the offseason. Maybe there's certain things that are going to happen like to this team that's going to be completely different, that's going to shake up this roster. Like that's the thing is that we're only in July. Like we're ways away from October. I know people don't want to hear it, but even Christ, you got like Nikita Gusev in town. The Devils allow a lot of people to open up their ice, and they like allow a lot of people to come in and skate. If you're like from the area, you can just go there and and practice. I mean, Kevin Ball was out there wearing a Flames shirt because he's already had to change over his wardrobe, but it's something needs to take place, whether that's wishful thinking or whether that's reality. I tend to feel like it's going to be somewhere in between.
Well, we know we have some offers out to some restricted free agents, so something's going to happen at some point, one way or another. So, I don't know. For me, it just feels like there's something there brewing. It may not come to fruition until the trade deadline. I don't know, but I feel like there's something there, like on the back burner that I feel like Fitzy is working.
Or maybe not. Or maybe we're smoking hopium, right, yo? Is that what we're doing? I don't understand. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. It's like you can't be hopeful or expect this team to do something between now and you could say you're done. How many times have you ever heard a GM say, like, yeah, I'm done? In reference to I'm done making every single sort of move that's going to be anything with this roster is completely set. I'm not going to do anything. It's done. So that's it. So then you just sit there and you roll this team out into the ice and see what's going to happen.
I still think Fitzy is working things. think he's going to say what he's going to say because he's saying the right things as a GM. But, yeah, I don't know. I almost forgot about Stefan Nason, too, now on the team. Another, bottom 6 guy. So there's a lot of – there's not too many spots. Nolan Foote. Where are all these guys going to play? Seems to me like there's something there maybe still because we have the extras, we have the reserves. And now you may say, well, Scotty, why don't we just keep everyone? Because look what the hell happened last year. Everyone got hurt. So maybe it's a good idea to have some extra depth. And that's fair. But I think
the Catalina wine mixer.
It's the Catalina wine mixer. DeSimone, I believe that's a one-way deal, right? Kovacevic, I believe he's on a one-way deal. I don't think he's on a two-way deal. I gotta look and double check that just to make sure. But yeah, I mean, these are guys that if you're gonna send them down, they're gonna have to go through waivers.
Which, by the way, that's not to say that won't happen either. I mean, could you picture someone like? Could you picture? I doubt this would ever happen, but could you picture somebody like Siegenthaler getting put on waivers? I mean, unless he's really, really stinking up the joint. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't think
you're not going to put that dude through waivers.
I mean, I don't know if anyone will pick him, with his contract. But if you put a DeSimone or Kovacevic on there, who are both making under $1 million, they will 100% get grabbed. So
yeah, and dude, by the way, thank you, Chris, for the super chat, man. Yeah,
listen, I didn't see that. Sorry.
My favorite thing in the world is Brady Tkachuk is the Catalina wine mixer. Boats and hose, bud. Boats and hose. That's all I gotta say about that.
I mean, that's
Bastion,
another thing.
Bastion on waivers. I could see that happening for sure.
He might. I don't know. That kind of goes against what Tom Fitzgerald has been building with the tougher team. We know Bastion adds a little bit of grit out there.
Yeah, until Matt Rempe destroyed him.
Well, I mean, he went back.
Hit him with.
I mean, he got leveled kind of a cheap shot there, elbow in the face. I mean, he went after Trouba after that. We know Bastion will drop the gloves. And we know Big Mac is going to drop the gloves. And we know Brendan Dillon will drop the gloves.
But it's got to be production, right? So these guys, if they, I guess this is great because you have all this competition on that bottom 6. But like, you need these guys to produce. You can't just put the dead weight onto the ice. And I get the grittiness, I get the toughness, like aspect of what he's trying to do with this team. But at the same time, like if you have these guys going out there and they're not scoring and they're not producing and they're not doing anything except getting in the occasional fight with some moron, then really what are we doing? And I get the whole and this kind of goes against what I was saying before. Like I love the balance of this team where you do have that grit and that sandpaper, and you're not going to get pushed around as much as you did in the previous years. But at the same time, they have to produce. They have to be able to go out there and actually put up numbers. Otherwise, it's going to be a waste of time.
I mean, I will say with Nate Bastion, I mean, we've seen him be able to pop a few goals in, and we've seen him do a really good job on the power play when they've put him at that rover position in front of the net.
Mm-hmm.
I know Sam Wu has said it many times. Put old Nate Bastion there in front of the net, and he's done okay. I mean, the dude, he was injured last year. Obviously, the two that shall not be named, we know one of them he was very, very close with. So I kind of give that a little thing right there. But yeah, I mean, he didn't have the greatest. He played 54 games. He only had 12 points. Let me just check out some of these statistics.
That ain't good,
here.
Bob.
What's good though? 143 hits. in those games.
Yeah.
That's the toughness that you need.
Yeah. Wait, the Capitals are 14
And
million over the cap. Is that real?
and he's not really costing you too much. He had five giveaways last year, according to the stats here. 8 takeaways, 27 block shots. So I mean, he's not really doing anything too bad. You know, the previous season only played 43 games, 99 hits, 38 blocks. In 21-22, we had 194 hits with 34 block shots. And let me just see points-wise. Yeah, I mean, 21-22, he had 11 goals. He's not racking up an insane amount of points. If he can get to that 20-point mark, that would be a lot better. But he seems to be hovering in the teens there.
Dude.
You know, his best year was it was 21-22, where he split time between Seattle and the Devils there. He had 18 total points. 12 goals, 6 assists, 11 of them with the Devils. So remember, he flopped big time over there in Seattle, and when he came back, you know.
Yeah, which we plucked him off of waivers. Listen, dude, I don't care. Like, Bastion's a good kid, but another guy. He's like you have. You can't have those albatrosses just like skating out into the ice and just not being able to do anything. Blocking shots and like all 114 hits, fantastic. We just got a guy who had 233 hits last year. So I mean,
yeah, but that's in limited action too. You know, he was at 194 in 72 games. So you want that grit, you want that toughness. That's a guy right there.
Yeah. I don't know.
So I don't know. I'm just saying we got a lot of these guys that are pegged in this bottom 6 type of role. Does Nolan Foote move up to play in the top 6? I don't know. Where does Palat end up?
No, if Nolan Foote is in the top 6, we have problems. Unless he's like become some kind of rock star and he's like crushing it out there, but. If he is in our top 6, and we're probably in the dumpster at that point. There's no way that dude breaks the top 6.
I wouldn't necessarily say that. I mean, I could see him being a nice protection piece for Mr. Hughes. So I don't know. I wouldn't say that.
I just don't think he
boy.
fits. I don't think he's a big kid, but I don't think he fits in that top 6 role at all. Whatever, man. I mean. There's so much time between now and the beginning of the season that, things are going to shake out. There's going to be possible PTOs that come into camp. And that's the thing too is, I don't know. I would have to sit down and look at like available people, like available wingers, like who's still out there in the market, who's still looking for a contract and all that kind of stuff. Because when you get closer to training camp and things happen, there could be a guy that's sitting out there that they want to give a shot to and comes in and he plays lights out. I really wish they could get that kid from Russia to come over. What is his name? I can't remember.
Gritsyuk or something like that.
Gritsyuk
I think he's got another year on his KHL contract, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So, that's the issue with drafting some of these Russian players.
Gritsyk. Oh.
We saw it with Mohamedulin taking a while to get over here.
1 year left over there. Damn it. And he re-signed with them too.
Yeah. So you'd like to see them try to get out of those things a little bit earlier, but it's been the trend recently for a lot of these players in the KHL to, finish up that time there before they, make that jump over to the States into the NHL.
Agreed.
I mean, I would be looking at maybe some of these teams like maybe the Washington Capitals or maybe someone else who's really hard up on that cap.
Yeah, NY Davey was saying it looks like Vegas is 3.5 over, right? But at the same time, they'll figure it out. They'll put somebody on LTIR,
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, they
and
they got no problem.
Jack
with that.
Eichel Jack Eichel will take a short vacation for the entire season, then come back for the playoffs.
Dubs, you are right. Yeah,
they'll figure it out.
the KHL season does end a little bit sooner than the NHL, so it could be that he does come over right after that. I don't know if they'll bring him to the NHL or put him right into the AHL, but I think it depends on where the team is, and we'll see how the injuries go this year. If it's like last year, you can expect him to be in the lineup.
Yeah, with Nolan Foote in the top 6.
Hey, listen, I if Nolan Foote can hang, go for it, buddy. It's kind of hard to skate with Jack Hughes, but if he can get that speed up, he's a big body and he'll provide protection. Allow Jack to move around and do what he wants to do. I mean, I'd rather see Brady Tkachuk there, but hey, that's neither here nor there.
Pie in the sky. Well,
you never know. You never know.
We're getting to that time. You never know. You never know. So getting to our final thoughts here, boys. Time to get down to brass tacks and say what's on your mind.
Stone on LTIR, October to May. Yeah, that's basically what it is.
100%.
Come back for the playoffs. Yeah, I guess my final thoughts is what's this defense going to look like? Because as I said earlier, the thought of Siegenthaler being up on that top pairing scares the bejeebas out of me after last season. And everywhere I look, I see all these projected lineups, and it's like Siegenthaler with Dougie, top pairing again. And it's just like, what? Did you guys miss what happened last year? So maybe I'm way off of my assessment. I am not an NHL caliber coach. I'm not even a local town league level coach, So I'm just a fan who likes watching the games. But to me, I just don't think you go out and you get a Brett Pesce, who has a history with Dougie Hamilton, and stick him on the second pairing. Especially because Pesce's not he's a big dude, but he's not a big physical force. Put Dylan over there with Luke. Let him be protected. You take a run at Luke, guess what? 6'4" monster who gets 250 hits a year is going to be tracking you down to clobber you. That's what I see. But
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, dude.
I could be wrong.
I will say for my final thought is the offseason. The offseason is going to be quick. I feel like we're going to blink and we're going to be in the beginning of the year. I don't know what's going to happen. None of us actually know what's going to happen to this team between now and the opening day roster. So it'll be interesting to see if at all anything is done to this team, or if it is what it is, and this is the team until the trade deadline. Either way, dude. I mean, the off season, at least we have a GM, and I said this before. At least we have a GM who's trying to do something, because there's guys out there that are doing nothing or doing the wrong thing. So we'll see. We'll see how this team shakes out, and then we'll see what we're doing. But that's about it, man. It's like 98,000 degrees in this room.
My final thoughts. We look good. The Devils look good on paper, but I'm not sold till the game start. We've been bamboozled before, and learned my lesson last season. We hyped this team up so much that the expectations were so high, but injuries are part of the game. Personnel changes are part of the game. But it does look promising. But, again, you got to play the games. Going 7-0 last season in preseason didn't mean a thing. We knew that. But as soon as you got to the regular season and, again, the Devils got pushed around quite a bit. Hopefully that changes. But it's more than just having physical players. It's all in your head as well. It needs to be a team effort to play physical, and you saw that in the Stanley Cup Finals with the Florida Panthers. I mean, as a team, they had each other's backs, and they just didn't stop. And that's how the Devils need to play if they're going to have success next season. So that's all.
Yeah.
All right.
No music.
Oh no, I'm
Sam's still looking for the buttons.
No, I was
yeah.
reading Ted. It says the stream video has been slow and delayed. I don't know. Maybe you should.
It could be me, Ted. I don't know. I've been having issues all night over here with the interwebs in LA, so maybe that's all my. Blame me. It's all my fault.
Yeah, but we don't have any.
Blame it on the
we don't. We don't have any problems on our end. Ted needs to get faster internet. That's all.
That's all that Ted's fault.
Yeah. Just blame the fans. Yeah, just blame the fans. That's all. Anyway, want to thank all those tuning in. State of the Fan address this Wednesday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Go to pucksandpitchforks.com. And also, I don't know. I don't even know what to say, but joinourcrew.com. Sign up. We've had a lot of sign-ups in the last 10 days because we're talking about our future road trips. We're talking about our future events. It's going to be a lot of fun. Till next time, let's go Devils.